Okay, here we are. You just had a little brief introduction with Epidemic Sound Instrumental. The royalty-free music that we play as our entry sound for a little webinar. And I'll have you know, this little webinar is being transmitted simultaneously, live and in color, on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and Twitter X Live. And the software that I'm using to keep this happening is called Ecamm Live. Everything's alive. ECAMM Live. ECAMM.com. Go there. If you want to you want to get in the webinar business. And I'm using Rodecaster Pro Roman numeral 2. The most unbelievable soundboard in the history of soundboards. Whoops. I'm going to show you. So if you look all the way to the right of your screen, you can see I don't know if I get rid of my cocktail. Get rid of this thing. Oh boy. There we go. And you can see my soundboard live and in color. It's a little out of focus because this little guy is a little bit in the way. Because the camera shoots right down this way. It mixes different sounds. Up to 6 different sounds. Yeah. Little tiny sound effects too. Got crickets. That's what happens to my telephone. It's like crickets. No one's calling me. All right, let's get serious. So, I hate to use the T word. For 10 years, I was not allowed to use the T word because my daughter was married to a maniac who couldn't stand the T word because he was a C word, a Clinton box boy. Only the real insiders of the Clinton administration know what a box boy was. If you happen to bump into President Clinton, just say, "How are your box boys doing?" And he'll look at you like, "Holy crap, what do you know about box boys?" Oh boy. Someday I'll tell you that, but not right away. So I'm going to get rid of this. Oh God, I got rid of the wrong one. Oh shit. There you go, that's the one I'm used to seeing. So we got the delayed broadcast of some newsy thing over here. Need to turn that brightness down a little bit so you can kind of see what's going on over there. And let's turn this on. Face ID. There we go. I'm going to shrink that down because we know it's January 24th. You see right down here. There you go. Hopefully, Epidemic is not too loud for you. There we go. Turn it down one more notch. So there needs to be a nice blend between Jimmy talking and you can see on the sound guy the stagehand, the producer, and the talent, if you want to call this talent. But anyway, so last night we had the primary at what do you call it? New Hampshire. So Mr. Trump has won the New Hampshire primary for Republicans 3 times. 3 times in a row, actually. Never been done before. A new record for a president, former president, to win it 3 times. No one has ever won it 3 times. Big deal. But it's, it is what it is. There's somebody set up in somewhere. But they have, see, what do they have? Rodecaster Pro, number 2. And they have a Mac computer. It only works with Macs. They don't make it for Windows computers. Because Windows computers are they're too vulnerable and they're too sloppy. They get so many drivers and things. It takes you 5 minutes to turn it on, and it takes you 5 minutes after you turn it off. I mean, it's crazy. The Mac, it just comes on, it comes on and it takes, 12 seconds, 15 seconds maybe. And when you shut it down, it shuts down. It's like a military grade kind of computer. Where the other Windows-based computers are, it's more of a housewife's computer. Sorry to use that. It could be a house husband. But anyway, let's get rid of that before I get in trouble. So here's the GOP South Carolina primaries. Let's see what's going on there, because that's the next. Because, Trump's opponent, Tricky Nikki Haley. I heard that Tricky Nikki on TV somewhere. Right now, Trump is at 61% and leads his nearest competitor by 33.7% lead on 31 polls. Here's the recent polls, January 17th to 18th. Right. 68% for Trump and 28% for Haley, a 40-point lead. And in the week, a similar period, 48 period, 38 period, Emerson College polling has Trump up by 29 points. Now, this is her own state that she was governor of. and they're all backing Trump. Some, she hasn't made a very good impression for some reason. I don't know why. And there's our leader with all his cohorts in the background. He's quite a magnanimous Magnus. He's Maximus, Gluteus Maximus. He's a tough one. But you know what? The truth is, I don't have to invite him over for dinner. But he's a great CEO of the United States, and let him kick ass and rip the swamps up and fine, have all kinds of controversy and throw the bums out. Because you not only have to get rid of the guy in the White House, you got to get all the deep state out of the White House. There's like 220 deep staters in the White House. Career suck-ups. Get rid of them. They don't like you. You might as well know it. And fill it up with people that you know and like. Accent on the no. Maybe they don't like you a lot. If they're willing to work for you, as long as you know them, K-N-O-W, and you know whether they're, spies or not, because they're surely going to be trying to get some spies in the White House if you get in the White House. And that's what they did to him last time. And it was really not very healthy. Okay, here's a guy with a sample ballot in his hand. He's in the ballot. Yesterday, 11 a.m., he was actually in a polling location, and he's holding up a ballot to show you, the sample ballot. And we haven't heard, because of all this polling stuff, because of the primary. This guy is kind of like off the hook. Lloyd Austin was unreachable for 5 days, lied to his aides on where he was, so no one could find him. And it turns out, somewhere in the middle of that 5-day period, he went to the hospital and was under anesthesia. And then under heavy sedation for 24 hours. So he's out of pocket. No one knew it, including Mr. President, who doesn't bother to talk to this guy anyway because there are other people running things other than the president. That's pretty sad. Trump was, he was on the phone with his Pentagon people every single day. And everybody knew where everybody was. Not this guy. They're all on frickin' vacation. They don't have any, sense of chain of command. And he's a military guy. If one of his underlings did that, he'd be canned immediately. This guy does it. No accountability. President doesn't care. He doesn't talk to him anyway. They were talking about the Oscars, and I didn't really pay too much about the Oscars. So there's an article here. This kind of caught my attention. Interesting picture. The Canon EOS R5 is a spectacular camera. Now this is the 5C, although I don't know if you can actually see this. You can't really see the C in there. But the 5C is the cinematographer's as a version. You see right here, see these fins? You don't see that in the R5, but you see it in the 5C. And the reason for that is if you see right here, internal cooling fan is will become enabled if you're recording 8K video at 60 frames per second. That is an unbelievable amount of data. Woo! Well, it's so much data and there's so much going on with the imager that 8K is, your typical TV is 4K. I have a 4K, a big one, a 4K, an 85-inch. I don't know if it'll work on 8K. I don't think I really cared because there's no content in 8K yet. So I figured, well, what the hell's the sense in stepping up another couple of thousand for the TV that runs 8K when there's no 8K broadcasting? So I can still see 8K broadcasting. It'll step it down to 4K. But anyway, this camera produces 8K content. Videos. I mean, there's spectacular. But there's a lot of stuff going on that imager. Keeps, it gets exposed, and then it gets taken off the imager. It gets exposed, taken off the imager, put into, buffers, and then written onto a card. Exposure. Get the stuff off the imager. Well, that happens 60 times a second. And oh my God, that's a lot of pixels. Woo! God almighty. That's 8 million pixels 60 times a second. With 64 million different shades of color. I mean, oh Lord. Anyway, so I get a little excited. Anyway, so what the deal is here, he's holding up an R5. And Canon is giving $900 off for what they call refurbished. Now, refurbished doesn't mean that someone fished it out of someone's garbage pail. Or some guy worked it, used it for like 4 or 5 months and talked Canon into taking it back because of, whatever. Canon goes through tests, it goes through all kinds of exercises because Canon is not going to release that camera out of their factory. I did call it refurbished only because it went out and came back. Now, it could have been out in the camera store for, 4 months. And it turns out camera store lost the box. So they sent it back to Canon. And since they sell a whole bunch of Canon products, they took it back, even though they wouldn't take a camera back like that without the carton from a customer. But they would for one of their dealers. I used to work in a Canon dealership. So they knocked $900 off the price, $950 for refurbished. And this article is basically saying not to worry. It's probably better than new because it went through all the testing. Probably a little more testing than a product that came, directly out of, let's do this. Let's say, look up. Canon USA. There we go. Here's the Canon products. And, is it on the very top? No. Oh well, it's live TV for you. Oh gosh. Let's try it again. Whoops, sorry. Search web. There we go, 5C cinema mirrorless camera. It says, oh, anyway, so they refurbished. Let's push that button. They don't have any, so they're sold out. That's why we can't find them. You know, they don't have a warehouse full of them. These are $5,000 cameras, so, or $4,000 cameras. So they don't have a bunch of them that come back. As a, I don't know if that's true today, but as a Canon dealer employee, I could buy Canon equipment for half off retail. What a deal. So a $6,000 lens I get for $3,000. And I did that. I bought a $6,000 lens for $3,000. It was brand new. I mean, factory warranty, everything. Never been touched by human hands other than the people that manufacture it and test it. And ship it, and then you get it. I mean, it's unbelievable. It probably doesn't happen for refurbished. But this camera's, you know, for $4,000 camera, $4,100 camera, you get it for, I almost got the 5C. I ended up getting the 5. It was like $650 more. And what were we spending? $3,200. So I want to pay really $3,900. Now, I was an employee of a Canon dealer at the time, so it's not like I could buy it for $2,000 instead of $4,000. I'd get two of them. It is a marvelous. It's a 45 million pixel camera, and the colors, the magic behind the Canon imager. And the reason why, I mean, there was a time in the early days of digital shooting in sporting events where, Reuters wouldn't take anything but Canon equipment because, the lenses were those red, what they call Canon Professional, with a red ring around the outside of the lens. Oh my God. You just pick up that thing and it's a stunning piece of glass with a whole bunch of elements in there and automation and electronic, the thing with AI. Well, Canon lenses have had AI built into them for like 30 years. And all of a sudden the world has woken up to, oh, AI? What's that? Well, remember the days of autofocus? Remember the days of manual focus? Well, when autofocus came to be, that was the beginnings of AI. And then the color management. I mean, the way the colors are treated, the imager processor. So you got an imager, and then all those pixels get scrambled through a computer chip, a very powerful computer chip that deals with all the colors and the color balancing and making sure that skin looks like skin, so you don't look like a lizard, with little greens. And that's one thing I didn't like about Sony imagers. The colors were weird. You take a picture in a very controlled environment of a model with, with lighting set up and all this stuff. I had all the best stuff. Still have some of the best stuff. And, coming off the Canon camera, the colors look stunning. You put a Sony camera on the same tripod, push the picture, you get it out, and it just it just didn't have that punch. The colors looked flat. You could get them. You could turn them up. You could post-image process, Photoshop them. another word. But it's like 10 minutes an image. Who the hell's got that time? Time is money. I want them coming right off the camera, without having to do all that extra work. Marilyn and I would do a photo thing. We'd end up with 800 images. So we'd call out 50. So now you got 800. And they're all perfectly color balanced. It's just amazing. It's really cool when you have two people shooting the same event. It's a great insurance policy to have that second person. And, she takes better shots than I do. So, if we go out there and we shoot, we're going to get 50 shots. She'll have 30 good ones and I'll have 20 good ones. And that's how we get to 50. And that's what I do for the people that are going to publish the shots we take. Is I'll scan through those 800 images and I'll bring the best 50 up front. So it's in front of the pack. So the people that hired us don't have to search through 800 images. But I want all 800 on there because I put them online so all the athletes can go see themselves and their parents can go see themselves. However, the people that want to use the images for other purposes, like a picture of a guy leaning over into the end zone. I'll show you one. Isn't that right here? Oh, yeah. There's another one. That is probably the hardest shot in sports, is when two polo players, are trying to get the ball down here and their sticks click just like that. Now it happens, frequently in a match, because they're all swinging sticks but to get the picture where you see the cane wrapping around each other like that. I've never seen the shot before. I took the shot sitting next to another photographer, and we heard the click. He said, "Boy, I would just love to be able to take a picture of that, capture that." And I said, "Oh, here, look, I just got it." The guy said, "Are you kidding? We're just talking about it." I said, "Yeah, well, I just happened to take the picture." But look at this. Look at this. Look at how she looks. It's just gorgeous. Oh, God. What is this? Get rid of this. There we go. We're okay, yeah. But you see how beautiful those colors are? God. I didn't have to colorize that baby. That's just, of course, it always helps when you have now, there was no special arranger. She was standing in line with all the rest of the people, like that lady in the background. She was flautist, and I was standing right. She was on the outside edge, and I was standing on the outside edge, and they're marching by, and they just stopped for a second. And I went up to her and I said, "Could you just look like you're getting ready to flute, but don't flute?" And I was standing like 3 feet in front of her. And I said, "Just look forward, and pretend you're going to be walking soon," which you will be. "And let me just snap a couple of shots." And I did. And it was just, I don't know. It's all natural. There's no shadows, lights, light boards, No flash. Phew, just stunning. That's the Canon imager. That's what I'm talking about. And the skin tones are just beautiful. Here's a shot. 9/11/01. This is 9. This is 02. It was the first football game in Florida after 9/11. Because remember, they took all the planes out of the skies for a while. And matter of fact, when this game was played, there was no planes allowed in the sky. And it just so happened, I looked up and there was Air Force One above us, at 25,000 feet. It was the only plane that was allowed to fly the president's plane. Whew. Here's a shot, March 6th, 2003. This was the grand opening party for Palmetto Place, which is a building catty-corner to where I live, right downtown Boca Raton. This was on the, FAU field. The dancers are, cheerleaders are, they're actually in the parking lot, I think. No, that's in the stadium. So it's a dance team or something. I forget what it's dance team. Here's another. Look at the skin tones. That young lady there just captured my. It's something when you take a bunch of pictures and you can just, some people just stand out. And that one right there in the middle just stood out. And it grabs the photographer's eye. Here's a shot, FAU tennis, ladies tennis. I got that. This is a lot easier than that polo shot. But look at that ball. It's just smashed against this. I love to catch those kinds of shots. And she was whacked the heck out of that with a backhand. And the strings, you can see them flex backwards. The ball is flattened on that racket. Oh, boy. I mean, some of these are, award-winning shots. It's just that no one gave me an award. Hey, there's Jimmy at Kings Point. See there? West Point. West Point. You know West Point? Yes, sir. June 5th, 1963. I'm on the field of the West Point Military Academy, and I'm on President Kennedy's, health and fitness, contest. So there I am, doing a pull-up. And this guy's watching. He's counting. You had to do 21 inside of 2 minutes. Or get out. All right, I'm done.